This is Megamondo. Welcome to the 2018 WellsMania Award Show. And now, here is your mega host, the Kyle Wells, because he's too damn mega!
Hey guys, this is WWE superstar Charlotte Flair, and you're listening to WellsMania Podcast. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 12 of WellsMania Podcast on YouTube. Megamondo is right. I am your host, the Kyle Wells. You can follow me on Twitter at WellsMania. Like me on Facebook at WellsMania, and if your Instagram is working, you can follow me on there at WellsMania. And of course, subscribe to the WellsMania podcast right here on YouTube. Welcome to the Wellsies! The 2018 WellsMania Awards show is running wild. And on this episode of WellsMania Podcast on YouTube, we are going to close out 2018 by handing out some awards and looking back at the wrestling world over the past year. 2018 was a crazy one, wasn't it? Oh, it sure was. We saw a lot. We saw a lot of things happen. Some things that we did not anticipate happening, they ended up happening. Things that we wish would have happened, they didn't happen. But before I get into that, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, happy holidays. I hope your holidays were merry and bright. And with 2018 wrapping up, well, that means there's a new year coming. 2019. Can you believe it? It is almost here. We are just days away from the new year. So on this episode of WellsMania Podcast on YouTube, I've got awards to give out, and I've called those awards the Wellsies, and I will tweet at each WWE or NXT superstar if they are a winner of the Wellsies, the WellsMania Award Show. I've got categories, I've got candidates. I'm going to reveal my winners to all of you, but before I do that, I want to put some people over. Because, let's face it, if it wasn't for you, the Wells Maniacs, listening to me, there wouldn't be a WellsMania podcast on YouTube. So I want to appreciate each and every single one of you out there for taking the time over the past year to tune into me talking to you about wrestling. And especially want to give some shout outs to Chris Haggerty, good brother Chris Haggerty, who has seriously been there since day one, supporting WellsMania Podcast, spreading the word, retweeting my tweets at WellsMania on Twitter, and just helping me out. Thank you, good brother, at CM Haggerty on Twitter. Thank you so much for your love, support, and dedication. Let's see. I also would like to shout out to Superfan Beardy all the way across the pond in Blackpool, England. That's right. WellsMania is worldwide, intercontinental, baby. I'm an intercontinental wrestling podcast champion. I just made that up on the fly. That came off the top of the Hoosier Dome. But Superfan Beardy, he's a huge wrestling fan, and he's been there supporting me on the Twitter, and he's been listening to the podcast on YouTube. So Superfan Beardy, at Superfan Beardy on Twitter, all the way over in England. Thank you, brother. Thank you for your love and your support, and I hope you continue to listen in 2019. We got Sean Bradley. Sean Bradley is a huge fan of the podcast. I even had him on an episode of WellsMania podcast on YouTube. Monstar6 on the Twitter. My good brother Sean Bradley, huge wrestling fan. Thank you so much for the love and support, for always tuning in to WellsMania podcast. And obviously, I got to thank the good brothers. I'm talking about Jared Giles, the WWE Human Encyclopedia. Jared is one of the most knowledgeable wrestling fans you will ever meet. At JC Giles on Twitter. That's why I call him the WWE Human Encyclopedia. Jared, thank you, good brother. Mark Dykton, at Mark Dykton, MarkDykton, at Mark Dykton, good brother Mark Dykton. Kurt Gerald's Jr., also a good brother. You can follow Kurt Gerald's Jr. on Twitter at KGeralds23. That's KGEARLDS23. Good brother Kurt Gerald's Jr. Now, there are probably going to be a lot of people that I miss, so I just want to apologize ahead of time. I'm going off the top of the Hoosier Dome here, so I'm doing my best, try not to miss anybody out there. That's a big Wells Maniac and Wells Mania podcast on YouTube fan. Now, there are some wrestling podcasts out there that I want to show some love. I'm talking about the 20 by 20 podcast. What? The 20 by 20 podcast. What? The 20 by 20 podcast. At 20x20 _ podcast. My dude Nathan McFly and his boys from Queens, New York. They're doing the damn thing on the SoundCloud 20x20 podcast. What up, Nathan McFly? Hey, bro. You are going to be on an episode of WellsMania podcast on YouTube in 2019. You are high up on the guest list, my dude. So follow the 20 by 20 podcast on Twitter and make sure you subscribe to their SoundCloud podcast. We've also got Pro Wrestling Look Back, PW Look Back on Twitter at PW Look Back. These Canadian guys look back at pro wrestling shows. They're from Canada. So I'm telling you, WellsMania is all over the place. I got fans in England. I got fans in Queens, New York. I got fans up north of the border in Canada. Which one of these days I'm going to make my debut, but make sure you follow these good brothers at PW Look Back, Pro Wrestling Look Back Canada, baby. We've got Armchair Bookers podcast at Armchair Booker 5, the official Twitter of the Armchair Bookers podcast. These guys are from New Jersey. Jersey Shore, baby. Oh, yeah. Wrestling podcast. Yeah. Wrestling time. So make sure you follow at Armchair Booker 5 on the Twitter. How about at Dead Ass Girls? Dead Ass Girls podcast. 2 New York City chicks talking about wrestling, food, fashion, video games, and we talk about whatever, pretty much. They are on SoundCloud, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, and iTunes. They are from Hello Brooklyn, New York, at Dead Ass Girls podcast, at Dead Ass Girls on Twitter. So those are just a few of my fellow wrestling podcasters out there doing their very best to entertain all of you out there. And hey, we're all a giant pro wrestling podcast. We are a wrestling community, and we are here to uplift one another, giving each other the rub. Do yourselves a favor and follow all of them on Twitter for more information on their wrestling podcasts. And of course, I got to show love to Wrestle With This. It's time to wrestle with this. Oh man, you want to talk about a up-and-coming wrestling organization that you do not want to miss out on? Wrestle with This on YouTube. You can catch all of the amazing action going on at the Smash Mouth Arena. Wrestle with This on YouTube. And of course, you can follow them on Twitter at SmashMouthWWT. I mean, I've had WWT World Champion Stone Payne on an episode of WellsMania podcast on YouTube. I've had the man on the marquee, Tim McLaw. I've had Isvan Gustenshlamen, Ravishing Anton, the Continental Champion. I've had Mike James, Jackson Rathbone, the voice of WWT, Dodge Obencrust, and of course, my personal favorite WWE superstar, Mega Superstar, Megamondo, which you heard at the very beginning of this episode of WellsMania podcast on YouTube. Wrestle with This. I'm telling you, you do not want to miss out on what is going on inside the Smash Mouth Arena. And I heard a rumor. Oh, yes, I did. I heard a rumor that in 2019, that's next year, they're going to start performing in front of live crowds. So jump on the bandwagon now, because you do not want to miss what's going on with Wrestle with This. And of course, Justin Kyle, don't think I forgot about you, because I haven't. You are high up on the guest list for 2019 at Kill Justin Kyle on Twitter. He is the real Midwest monster. This dude is going to be a force to be reckoned with in 2019. He was only just getting started in 2018. He's going to absolutely kill everything and dominate in 2019. Justin Kyle, I would love to have you on a future episode of WellsMania podcast on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, yes, there is Dick Williams, who is the host of DickTube. I'll see what I can do. Maybe I'll get Dick Williams on a future episode of WellsMania podcast. You know what? I've already challenged Dick Williams to a match. I'm talking about WellsMania podcast versus Dick Williams and DickTube. Hey, Dodge Obencrust, I know you're a big fan of the WellsMania podcast. Book it, 2019. Let's make it happen. Now, looking back at 2018 for Wrestle with This, there was, of course, the debut Smash Mouth Slamboree that took place this past spring. We saw Stone Payne become the youngest world champion, winning the main event. We also saw Megamondo winning the Battle Royal, the Showcase Battle Royal. And then, I mean, we've seen showcases highlighting, Ravishing Anton winning the Continental title. We saw Justin Kyle defeat Jackson Rathbone in that awesome barbaric no DQ match. We saw the kendo stick match between Stone Payne and Mike James. We saw Isvan Gustenshlamen and Tim McLaw getting into a match. I mean, there was a lot going on, and these guys are only getting started inside the Smash Mouth ring there at the Smash Mouth Arena, and you do not want to miss what's coming in 2019. Mega big things are coming for Wrestle with This. Now, I was asked, who do I think the WWT Superstar of the Year should go to? I'm biased because I've obviously aligned myself with Megamondo and Ravishing Anton and Justin Kyle, so I don't have an answer. I can't. How about you? Tweet at WellsMania. Who do you think is the Wrestle with This Superstar of the Year for 2018? Let me know, and make sure you tag at SmashMouth WWT on that tweet. Now, looking back at 2018, I got a list in front of me. These are all the wrestlers that I had the honor and privilege to either meet for the very first time or to see again in 2018. This is in order from the very beginning of the year to the very end of the year. These are some of the wrestlers that I had the honor to shake hands, talk to, interview, and I'll tell some stories along the way. So we start out with friend of the WellsMania podcast on YouTube. You also hear her on the liner. I'm talking about the Queen, Charlotte Flair. Woo! I had a chance to interview Charlotte earlier this year when SmackDown was in town, right here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Charlotte was such a sweetheart, so nice, just so appreciative, and she gave me that liner for the podcast, which I could never repay her for. So, Charlotte, thank you so much for being a friend. And thank you so much for doing what you do inside and outside the ring. You are a pro's pro. How about Mean Gene Okerlund? You know, Mega Mondo got interviewed by Mean Gene Okerlund earlier this year. Yeah, that really happened. And in case you missed it, well, here it is.
Here. I'm being joined today by my very dear, close, personal, long-time friend, Mega Mondo.
This is Mega Mondo.
Yeah, and the 27th of May is going to be a big day.
That's right. Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. I always wanted to say that. This is Mega Mondo. I got a big match. It's a battle royal. A showcase battle royal. May 27th. Wrestle with this, Mean Gene. You should come.
Where's it going to be?
It's going to be Southside, Indianapolis.
Southside, Indianapolis.
Yeah, you've been there before.
Yeah. Which side? Is it on Wood Street?
It's close to Wood Street.
That's close enough for me then.
Mega Wood Street.
I like wood. Anybody that's got wood is in tall timber.
Mean Gene, I'm going to nickname you Mega Mean Gene Okerlund.
I like that. Mega Mondo joining me here at Heroes and Legends. Whoa!
Too damn mega!
That's what I'm talking about.
Man, you know, you talk about all the people that Mean Gene Okerlund has interviewed over his Hall of Fame legendary career. Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, the Ultimate Warrior, and now you can add Mega Mondo to that list. I met WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana. This was obviously one of my favorite wrestlers of my childhood that I have been wanting to meet my entire life, the Native American Tatanka. I had a 10-minute conversation with Tatanka, and that dude is so chill, so laid back, so appreciative. He told me the story about WrestleMania 9 when Shawn Michaels didn't want to drop the Intercontinental title to Tatanka. So you know what I did? I gifted Tatanka a toy replica Intercontinental title belt, and he was so appreciative of it. Tatanka, one cool dude. Medusa, Alundra Blaze. I met her earlier this year, and she wanted to kick my butt, but that's neither here nor there. I met the Birdman, Coco Beware. How about the Outsiders? Hall and Nash, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. Too sweet. And, well, you know, I met Buff Bagwell, too. That's another dude that was really nice. Buff Bagwell, he's very conversational, and he was talking to me about how the Brawlin' Buddies, they only made like maybe a handful of Buff Bagwell ones, and his mom still has one to this very day. And Buff is like, yeah, Mom, you know, when you pass away, maybe I'll sell that Brawlin' Buddy Buff Bagwell. Yeah, that's I love these stories when you interact with these wrestlers. You know, they have stories to tell, you have stories to tell, and it's really cool to get that chance to interact with some of your favorite wrestlers from your childhood. And another one from my childhood, my teenage years, was Diamond Dallas Page. I got a chance to meet DDP. Bang! He gave me some really sound advice. I mean, I told him that I wrestle, and he gave me some really good advice on what to do, what not to do. And, of course, he plugged DDP Yoga towards me, which by the way, it works, and it obviously works because it's kept a few wrestlers alive, Scott Hall being one of them, and I'll get to another one in just a second because he's on this list. But the next wrestler I met, this one was huge for me. Fozzy was in town, and my good brother Chris Haggerty and I went to the Vogue. We went to the Fozzy concert, and then after the concert, I got a chance to meet the Ayatollah of rock and rolla, Y2J, baby! Chris Jericho. Man, that was super cool meeting Chris Jericho, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, and just being able to talk to him for a few minutes, just telling him how much I appreciate him and wishing him nothing but the best with his Fozzy rock band. Man, that was a really, really cool moment. Another really cool moment is when I had a chance to interview Samoa Joe. Joe was in town for SmackDown Live, and I had a chance to interview Samoa Joe, and he is a super cool, pro, laid-back dude. Samoa Joe, friend of the WellsMania podcast. I also got a chance to see The Miz again, but whenever The Miz is in town, you can't pass up an opportunity to meet the awesome, most must-see WWE superstar, The Miz. And I teased this earlier, but Jake the Snake Roberts, DDP Yoga saved Jake the Snake Roberts' life, and I had a chance to have a really man, it was such a really surreal conversation with Jake the Snake Roberts. That dude has been through a lot throughout his entire career, and I had a chance to talk to him for about 30 minutes. And I mean, he is so just very appreciative. He's got a little crude humor to him. He's unfiltered. He's uncut. If Jake the Snake Roberts is ever in your town doing a stand-up show, go see it. I highly recommend it. Very entertaining. It was very cool meeting Jake the Snake Roberts. Even though he said that I'm not his friend, I think we are. I think we're friends. I met Jerry the King. Well, I've already met Jerry the King Lawler, but I saw Jerry the King Lawler down in Louisville. Jerry signed one of my action figures along with Sergeant Slaughter. He put me in the Cobra Clutch. I'm officially a part of the club now. That's what he told me. Booker T, can you dig it, sucker? Talked to Booker T. He's an awesome guy. Very appreciative. He signed one of my action figures. And last but not least, Melina. And I'd scream like Melina, but I can't. So just go to YouTube and type in Melina Scream. So those are all the wrestlers that I met. I think I had a pretty nice haul for, no pun intended, Scott Hall. I had a pretty nice haul of meeting wrestlers, legends, Hall of Famers, childhood heroes. Very blessed year. I cannot wait to see who I meet, who I see again in 2019.
And now, the moment you've all been mega patiently waiting for. This is the 2018 WellsMania Award Show. And here is your two-term mega host, the Kyle Wells from WellsMania.
Thank you, Megamondo. You're too kind. Ladies and gentlemen, the wait is over. It is now time to hand out some Wellsies for the 2018 WellsMania Award Show. Yes, and I've got a lot of categories here. Now, I have thrown some candidates in these categories, but these next 4 awards, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to reveal the winners of these categories. So, WWE Rookie of the Year for 2018, the Wellsie goes to Ronda Rousey, the baddest woman on the planet. I mean, arguably, is there anybody else out there that has had the rookie year that Ronda Rousey is having? I mean, she made her debut at WrestleMania 34, arguably had one of the best matches of 2018 when she teamed up with Kurt Angle and they took on Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. I almost put that match in the category for best match of the year. It's an honorable mention, and Ronda Rousey, the Raw Women's Champion, baddest woman on the planet, is the WWE Rookie of the Year for 2018. Funniest moment of the year? Well, that's a no-brainer. It goes to Titus O'Neil when he tripped at the Greatest Royal Rumble. If you, for whatever reason, have yet to see that, I don't know where you've been for the past year, but do yourself a favor, YouTube Titus O'Neil Greatest Royal Rumble, and enjoy the fall. Shocking moment of the year. This one, it really took us all by surprise. Roman Reigns announcing that he has been battling leukemia. Nobody saw that coming, and Roman Reigns has not been back since. He's still fighting, and he's going to return in 2019. Believe that. I believe in the big dog, and I cannot wait till Roman Reigns comes back, and I can't wait to see how the crowd reacts to Roman Reigns when he comes back, because for the good part of 2018, hipster boos from hipster fans dominated the audience, booing Roman Reigns. But like I stated on the last episode of WellsMania podcast on YouTube, a lot of those fans have changed their tune because of the real-life leukemia that Roman Reigns is battling. It kind of makes you change your tune a little bit, makes you appreciate the wrestlers, because when they're no longer wrestling, you look back and you're like, man, how did I treat that wrestler when they wrestled? Oh, I booed him every single time for no legit reason. I told everybody that he was being pushed down my throat. No, you're just an idiot, and you just have no respect, and you don't appreciate hard work. Listen, I was going to do a most overrated wrestler of the year, but the most overrated wrestler of the year are the hypocritical fans in the crowd. You guys are overrated. All you ever want to do is bash the product. You just watch it to cry and complain. You are the problem. You are overrated. All right. Big Poppy, my dude JD Roach, at Poppy24 on Twitter. He loves when I go on these little rants. So that one was for you, good brother out of Chicago, my dude JD Roach. The best on the mic, it's a no-brainer. No, it's not Paul Heyman, although he is very, very, very talented on the mic. I'm talking about awesome. The Miz takes the Welsie for best on the mic in 2018. Now, the most improved superstar of the year, the candidates are Mandy Rose, Elias, Ronda Rousey, and Baron Corbin. Now, I could give this award to Ronda Rousey. Out of the 4 superstars that I listed, I think she's the one that has really improved the most. So normally you would give that award to the person who has improved the most, but I'm actually giving this award to Elias. I really think that Elias had a huge year of improvement and has become a major player on Monday Night Raw. And I think in 2019, he's going to get the push that he so deserves. And I think his true breakout is going to happen in 2019. But as far as 2018 goes, I think he was the most improved superstar of the year. And he takes the Welsie. How about most underrated superstar of the year? Now, this is also kind of like most underutilized. So I kind of combined this category, most underrated superstar of the year. I've got Naomi, Chad Gable, Zack Ryder, Rusev, and I'm just going to throw the Revival out there as well, because I feel like when you talk about underutilized, the Revival comes to my mind. So out of those 4 superstars, not counting the Revival, that was kind of like an honorable mention, like Gallows and Anderson, you could throw them in there as well. Normally, I'd go with my broski, Zack Ryder, because I always think he's the most underrated superstar of the year. But I really think WWE missed the boat with Rusev this year. How hot was Rusev Day? Lana, Rusev, Aiden English. I mean, Rusev was super over with the fans all year long. What felt like Rusev Day was every day, and he never quite got used the way that I feel that he should have been used. He definitely should have won the title. This is just me maybe dreaming out loud here, but I really think that Rusev should have won the WWE title at some point in 2018. It never happened. He is ending the year as the U.S. champion, so that is promising heading into 2019. Hopefully, he is used more in 2019 the way that he should be. So Rusev takes the Welsie for most underrated superstar of the year 2018. Faction of the year, we've got the Riot Squad, the New Day, the Shield reunited in 2018. They're back. Well, they were back. The Undisputed Era. Now, the faction of the year. When you think of faction, all of these factions should come to your mind. The one that absolutely just dominated in 2018, and yes, I cross-branded NXT with WWE, the main roster. I'm giving this Welsie to the Undisputed Era. I mean, 2018, these guys exploded. Adam Cole, baby! Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong. The Undisputed Era definitely shocked the system. They take the Welsie for Faction of the Year. And while we're on the topic of NXT, the candidates for NXT Pay-Per-View of the Year, and quite frankly, I mean, you could say all of them, but no. I've got 4 listed here right in front of me. TakeOver War Games 2, TakeOver Brooklyn 4, TakeOver New Orleans, and TakeOver Chicago 2. Now, I gave this Welsie to TakeOver New Orleans because we saw some of the best matches of the year on this TakeOver show. I'm talking about that 6-man ladder match for the inaugural NXT North American title. Adam Cole defeated EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, and Velveteen Dream. Johnny Gargano defeated Tommaso Ciampa by submission in that unsanctioned match that kept Johnny Gargano on NXT. We saw Aleister Black defeat Andrade Cien Almas for the NXT Championship. The Undisputed Era defeated the Authors of Pain and Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong in the Triple Threat Tag Team match for the NXT Tag Team titles. And of course, Shayna Baszler defeated Ember Moon by technical submission, winning the NXT Women's title. NXT TakeOver New Orleans gets the Welsie for NXT Pay-Per-View of the Year. How about WWE Pay-Per-View of the Year? Well, I narrowed it down to the most recent one, WWE TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. The highly anticipated first ever all-women's pay-per-view, Evolution, Hell in a Cell, and Survivor Series. And of course, I am giving the Welsie to Evolution. I mean, the anticipation, ever since they announced it, we couldn't wait for October 28th to get here. Evolution did not disappoint. I mean, we also saw one of the best matches of the year. Last Woman Standing match, the first ever Last Woman Standing match, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. We saw Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya defeat the Riot Squad. Nia Jax won the 20-woman Battle Royal for a shot at the women's title. We saw Trish and Lita, Team Bestie. They defeated Mickie James and Alicia Fox. And, of course, Ronda Rousey defeated Nikki Bella to retain the Raw Women's title. And, of course, Shayna Baszler defeated Kairi Sane to win the NXT Women's Championship. The Welsie for WWE Pay-Per-View of the Year goes to Evolution. How about Breakout Superstar of the Year? The nominees are Becky Lynch, Drew McIntyre, Elias, and from 205 Live, Buddy Murphy. Becky Lynch. I'm Becky Lynch. hands down, broke out. I mean, you look up breakout in the dictionary, you'll see Becky Lynch, the man. She truly broke out. Ever since that heel turn, she has only gotten hotter and hotter and hotter. Not only because she's 100% straight fire, but she literally is on fire. Becky Lynch wins the Welsie for Breakout Superstar of the Year. How about Return of the Year? Dean Ambrose, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, and Daniel Bryan. Those are the nominees, and we never thought we were going to see Daniel Bryan back in the ring unless you listen to WellsMania podcast on YouTube. By the way, you are listening to episode 12 of WellsMania podcast on YouTube. I tweeted at WellsMania on Twitter. I have said all along that Daniel Bryan was going to return, and he finally did. And he is the winner for Return of the Year. He takes home the Welsie Award. How about Feud of the Year? The nominees are AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa, Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. I gave the Welsie to NXT superstars Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. What more do you want in a feud? I mean, you had blood, sweat, tears, raw emotion, betrayal. You had underdog. You had everything you would ever want in a feud. You had it in that. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, they take home the Welsie for Feud of the Year. How about WWE Match of the Year? The nominees are from Evolution, Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's title in the first ever Last Woman Standing match. Charlotte Flair versus Asuka at WrestleMania 34. Charlotte Flair versus Asuka versus SmackDown Women's Champ Becky Lynch at TLC in the first ever Women's TLC match. And Universal Champ Brock Lesnar versus WWE Champ Daniel Bryan in a dream match come true at Survivor Series. And you obviously know I'm showing a lot of love to the women because the women absolutely owned 2018, and the Welsie goes to Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch defeating Charlotte Flair in the Last Woman Standing match, becoming the SmackDown Women's Champion, the man, proving that she is the top guy in WWE. How about NXT Match of the Year? There are a lot to choose from, so I narrowed it down to Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa at NXT TakeOver New Orleans, the North American Championship ladder match at NXT TakeOver New Orleans, Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas for the NXT title at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, and NXT champ Tommaso Ciampa versus the Velveteen Dream at NXT TakeOver War Games 2. I give the Welsie Award to Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa at NXT TakeOver New Orleans. That match was everything that I wanted it to be, and boy, did those guys deliver. They take the Welsie for NXT Match of the Year. NXT Superstar of the Year, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Aleister Black, and the Velveteen Dream. Well, you know what? Clean sweep. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, co-winners for NXT Superstars of the Year. Listen, Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream had great years. You could even throw Ricochet, Adam Cole in there. Baby! But Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are the heart and soul of NXT. 2018 was their year. WWE Best Tag Team of the Year. And you know what? The Bar, The New Day, The Usos, and I even threw in the Undisputed Era, and I'm giving the Welsie to the Undisputed Era. I almost gave it to The Bar because I think Sheamus and Cesaro have done a phenomenal job. The New Day, one of the most dominant tag teams in recent memory, along with the Usos. But the Undisputed Era, they have had the best year out of all the tag teams in WWE, including NXT. They take home the Welsie Award. The final award of the night, the final Welsie Award, the WWE Superstar of the Year. The nominees are Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, Becky Lynch, and AJ Styles. Can I get a drum roll, please? Yes, that's right. The winner of the 2018 Wellsie Award for WWE Superstar of the Year is the man, Becky Lynch. She has seriously taken 2018 and she has made it hers. The man closing out the year on top. Even though she doesn't currently have the SmackDown Women's title, that's okay, because she'll get it back in 2019, but she takes home the Wellsie Award for WWE Superstar of the Year. Congratulations to the man, Becky Lynch. All right, that's going to do it for episode 12 of WellsMania podcast on YouTube, the 2018 WellsMania Award Show. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Tweet at WellsMania. Let me know if you agree with me or disagree with me. Your feedback is everything. I really look forward to what 2019 has in store. You never know. I might shake up the podcast a little bit. What that means? I guess you'll have to tune in to WellsMania podcast on YouTube in 2019. On behalf of all of us here at WellsMania, thank you so much for tuning in. And hey, guess what? Until next episode, take care and dominate the day. I'll see you next year.